When Michael Jr. takes the stage,
My name is Michael Jr. I'm gonna do some jokes.
laughter follows.
Ultrasounds come in color now, which is ridiculous. I know it's a black baby.
His talent has put his name in lights, landing appearances on The Tonight Show, Jimmy Kimmel, and Oprah. Still, with all his success, the comedian changed his approach to his craft. His focus is now on what he can give, and not so much on what he can get.
Normally when a comedian gets on stage, we want to get laughs from people. And I felt like a shift took place where I felt like God was saying, instead of trying to get laughs from people, I want you to give them an opportunity to laugh. So this changed everything. So I go on stage that night, we have a good time, but it's different. Like, I'm way more relaxed. The audience seems to be way more responsive. And then when I walk outside, I see a homeless guy. I'd never seen a homeless guy outside this club before, ever. But that doesn't mean he wasn't there before.
Yeah.
It just means before my mindset was to get laughs from people. So I asked myself, I was like, what about him? How could I give him an opportunity to laugh? And then 4 days later, this lady at one of my events came up to me and she said, hey, would you consider coming to the homeless shelter where I work at to do comedy? And I was like, wow. No, I'm not. no, I never even thought of such a thing. Why would you do that? So I actually went to that shelter and did comedy, and then it was so powerful. So what we decided to do, we added that to our tour. So when we would go to a city, we'd find a homeless shelter or a prison, abused children's facility, and we would do comedy there before the big comedy show that night.
Prisons, shelters, and children's homes have been regular stops on Michael's tours for about 9 years, often sharing tough stories from those visits on his larger comedy stages. Even today.
And then when it came time to film my comedy special, I was like, why don't I take my camera crew, we go out, we find the best 3 stories that we can, and we put them in the middle of the jokes.
This isn't a Michael Jr. thing. This is about a family and people y'all never met before, heard y'all story. We decided to do a comedy show fundraiser, so y'all can have this.
Michael's idea made this movie, titled More Than Funny.
We filmed it in front of 4,000 people at Hope Community Church in Memphis. But then suddenly, boom, you're in the woods, in the helping homeless people. And then boom, we're right back to laughing.
I'm John with Hands of Hope. We're...
Oh my God!
The movie is now a movement with a challenge from Michael Jr.
A comedian will use any resource, any talent he has to make an audience think in one direction. Well, the punchline occurs when he changes that direction in a way they're not expecting. And when they catch on to that change, that's actually them receiving the punchline, and the results are revelation, fulfillment, and joy, but it's expressed through laughter. I feel like God has shown me that life is very, very similar. There's a setup, and then there's a punchline. Your setup is the fact that you're married, you got a car, you got a house. Your setup is about what you've received, but your punchline is about what you're called to deliver. And if you don't know your punchline and you just got all of this setup, you'll think what you need to be fulfilled is more setup. If I could just get married, if I could just make more money, if I could just get more laughs, but what you really need to know is what is your punchline.
In other words, how can you make a positive impact? And with Punchliners.com, Michael has created an online community to help people find their own punchlines.
When you catch on to this change, you have received the punchline.
It's a life-changing connection Michael's seen on stage and following one show in particular.
After the show, security says to me, there's a guy who wants to talk to you, and he's really animate about talking to you. I'm like, okay. So I go out to meet this guy, and you can tell his eyes are puffy because he's been like tearing up or something. And then he says to me, he said, I gotta talk to you. He said, the reason I came to this comedy show is because my life is so heavy right now. He said, I didn't know what to do, so I just came to this comedy show. He said, but after listening to what happened here and what's going on, he said, I'm a fugitive of the law, and I feel like I should turn myself in. Would you go with me to turn? Like, I'm blown back. Like, what in the world? I'm doing jokes and sharing a little bit of me, and as a response, this guy says, I think I need to get my life right, turn myself in. Now, the comedian in me is like, was the comedy that bad? Like, prison, what did I do wrong? You want to go to prison instead of being here.
You know?
But it was such a powerful moment, and I realized, like, laughter opens up hearts. But if I'm opening up hearts, I want to make a deposit that's going to make a change.
Ephraim Graham, CBN News.